Hi, Scott Orland with Cinema Magazine, another in our continuing series of Cinema Outside the Box. I am bringing to you somebody incredibly special. There's a new documentary coming your way on the life of Natalie Wood, and who better to be part of this process and, basically producing it is her daughter, Natasha Gregson Wagner. Thank you so much for doing this. Having been so many years since the untimely passing of your mom, why was now a good time for you to put this documentary together?
Well, in 2012, I became a mom to my little girl Clover, who you just met, and I experienced so much healing after becoming a mother, and I started to really feel that I owe my daughter some clarity about my mom's life, and I started to look at my mom's life with a little more objectivity, less like a motherless daughter, and more like maybe a fan in a way, and I felt like the only person that could really shine the light on her in the way that I wanted to do it was me. So I began to take those steps forward.
And it's interesting too, because we're going to get to it. Obviously, you deal with these wonderful, euphoric moments of your mother's life, but you don't shy away from, sadly, her untimely death. Was that a sense of closure for you to actually go through that process?
For me, I have always had closure about her death. I have always known that because she was by herself, we're never going to know exactly what her final moments were like. And I have made peace with that. Laurent Bouzereau, the director, and I, we wanted to handle that head on because we knew so many people would expect that from the documentary, and my wish was that the general public would then be able to have closure if they saw the conversation between myself and my stepfather, Robert Wagner. He is someone that has so much elegance and humanity and grace to him, and I think he's so beautiful in that scene talking about the night she died. So I am hopeful that people will find closure.
Mm-hmm. Well, somebody's finding closure right now. I think that's your dog barking.
Yeah, that's John Wayne. Be quiet, John Wayne.
So now let's get to the fun part, which is your mom's career. And, for a young generation, hopefully they're going to go back and look and discover what an incredible actor your mom was. But for you going through this process, were there performances that you discovered that gave you a different insight to her career?
Absolutely. I've seen so many of her films, but I think to see them now at the age that I'm 49, I'm older than my mom ever got to be, and in a way I look at her and her films almost like a parent, like I'm her parent. And so, one film that comes to mind is, let me go into another room. These dogs. One film, sorry about that comes to mind is This Property is Condemned. I just felt like, she, in some of those scenes, she goes through so many emotions. And I'm in awe of her acting ability. She was just, and I think she's underrated because she was so beautiful.
One of the fascinating aspects of making a documentary for me is uncovering things that maybe you weren't aware of. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden it's that aha moment to the audience. What was that aha moment for you when you were going through this? What did you discover that was not the holy grail, but just that one bit of thing that you felt make the difference?
I wouldn't say that I discovered new stuff, but I revisited with the things that I already knew. So, for example, the journal, Ladies' Home Journal, the piece she wrote for Ladies' Home Journal, I reread that from a different point of view, from a more grown-up point of view. The footage of our childhood and all of the family footage and stuff, I was so moved by that. I can watch that stuff over and over. It never gets old to me. But I think, that she was somebody that she put so much into the things that she loved, into her work, into her marriage, into her children, into her friendships, into her emotional self. She was somebody that really, she wrote, I don't think we put this in the documentary, or maybe we did, but of Ruth Gordon, who was my godmother. She wrote, I've never quite met anyone that has a zest for life the way Ruth does. And I think that was something that my mom really, she had that naturally, but she pulled people in that had that as well. That was important to her, to really live her life.
For you growing up, I mean, obviously your mother was an incredibly successful woman, a huge actor. But when we're watching this, as much as we're admiring her, it's her circle of friends. I mean,
yes.
It's jaw-dropping to understand who she socialized with. Did you know that then? Did you understand who they were?
No, I mean, they were always at our house because our house was definitely the hub. And I knew that they were, I remember her telling me Sir Laurence Olivier is the greatest actor in the whole world, and so I could hear those words, but I didn't, to me, Joyce DeWitt from Three's Company was the greatest actress in the whole world, or Anthony Geary from General Hospital, that was my reference point. So I knew these people were important, and especially important to my parents, but I didn't understand it the way I understand it now.
And a last question for you, Natasha, which I think maybe is not going to surprise people, but give them a different insight, is we're right in the midst of this whole Me Too movement. We're in the midst of women trying to find their equal place in not only the entertainment industry, but life in general. And your mother was doing this 50 years ago.
I know. I mean, I think that was something that I so wanted, us to talk about a lot in the documentary, because I remember my mom as being very much in control of her world, in control. She was the boss of our household. She was very much into her finances. She was a savvy businesswoman. But yes, like you say, I mean, she was fighting for equal pay between her and the cast of The Great Race, when it was not really the thing to do. She was taking on Jack Warner because she wanted to have more control in her movie roles. And so I love that she was somebody that was doing that when it wasn't really the chic thing to do. I mean, she blazed the trail in certain ways.
Well, I cannot thank you for giving us not only your time today, but just in general, this beautiful documentary. And I hope people get a chance to see it and a whole new wave of fans come for your mom. Anyway, Natasha, thank you so much. And this is Scott Orwell. Until next time.
Thank you, Scott.